of all, look what I've got. I thought with it being the new cover, firstly, it's gorgeous. Like I read the book a good few months ago, so I absolutely, I loved it. I thought it was really, like, I mean, there are so many fantasy novels that have a lot in common, but this like really stood out for me. And book 2, and now I am about to start Awakened.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting good things.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about your new book.
So, my new book, which is Forbidden Waves, that one is totally different. Like, it's still fantasy, because I just like writing fantasy the best. But it's a new adult rather than young adult, which I've only ever written young adult before. So it was just like very interesting to go into that realm of like writing spice and everything. So it was a lot of fun. But it's mermaids and pirates, and they are working together to try to defeat the Siren Queen, who has kind of taken over the ocean.
Okay, and so like, do you have a favorite character from the book?
I do. Because there's 4 main characters. There's the 2 male main characters and then the 2 female main characters, and like there's POVs from each of them. But my favorite one is definitely Viv. She's my favorite.
And what is it that you love about her?
I think that I put like more of myself into her. Like, the other characters, like Leah is the other girl, and she's much more like out there, outgoing, like upfront, and like that's just not me at all. So like Viv is kind of much more subdued and like much more calculating, and that's much more of like who I am. And I put a lot of my like fears into her as well, so like kind of that.
Okay. Yeah. And so where are people going to be able to get the book?
So it is available for pre-order as a hardcover on Barnes & Noble, and then as an ebook on Amazon, but it will be available in paperback as well once it releases, but Amazon just doesn't let you do pre-orders, unfortunately.
I have actually seen some things lately that they allow you to upload everything in advance and prepare it all, because before you had to upload like 2-3 days in advance and just hope that everything was okay.
Yeah.
And now they can just, do it. I got an email about it the other day, and I was like, oh my god, it's so exciting. Because you can do it at least a week before, and yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So you recently published Unbound with Ingram Spark. How did that go?
The main reason I did it was because Barnes & Noble had agreed to carry my books in my local store if they were made returnable, and you can only do that through Ingram Spark as far as I know. So that's why I put them on there. And then of course Barnes & Noble, I'd like called them again, and I got a different answer, so I'm like, they're not actually in there yet, which is a little disappointing. So now they're just kind of on Ingram Spark, but it is more expensive to publish with Ingram Spark. They charge more for the printing process, so I had to charge more for the Ingram Spark versions. So what I did was I just added some of the art to those versions, so that if someone did buy them and pay the extra money, they were getting something a little extra with that too.
Yeah. That's really good, because I know I actually also noticed you saying about like with your first book with Unbound, I think. You said that the Barnes & Noble printing costs were a bit more expensive, so it was a little bit more on Barnes & Noble compared to Amazon. So yeah, like I see what you mean about putting a little extra something in there if it's gonna cost people more. It's like it's a pain, because like readers only have so much money, you know, and I'm sure we want to help like bridge this gap. So I mean, as far as like the process of getting a book on Ingram Spark, how did that differ to like Amazon and Barnes and Noble? Was there like the process more or less the same?
It was a little trickier because they didn't have like a cover format page, so I just had to I just used the ones that I made for Barnes and Noble and just hoped that it would fit their format. Like, I don't know if they have it on there somewhere and I just couldn't find it, but like in that regard it is harder to use. And it was a little scarier because like with Barnes and Noble and Amazon, you can change your manuscript as many times as you want, like free of charge, nothing wrong, like whatever you want to do, you can do it. But with Ingram Spark, I had to pay $20. I think it was $20 to change the covers, and I didn't realize that once it was on there, you had to pay anytime you wanted to make a change. So I was like, oh god, now I feel like much more like pressure to make it perfect the first time I upload it. But they have since changed that. You have, I think, 6 months now after uploading to make change, or it might be less than that, but maybe it's 60 days, something. But you have time now to make changes before it's like charges you, which is nice, but it's still stressful.
Yeah, I do remember seeing there was like a time or a pocket of time that you could get it free, the change is free, but yeah, that put me off. And what about the ISBNs? Like, did you have to purchase your own, or did you use Ingram Sparks? Because I haven't ever used Ingram Spark, so I have heard that in the US they do offer free ISBNs. So how did you use their own, or did you have to buy them?
Yeah, I used the ISBN through Ingram Spark. I did the same thing for Amazon. I just had them like do the free ISBN. Yeah. I guess the main difference would be like if you bought your own ISBN, then you could use that one across the platforms, but I honestly I don't know really if there's any issues with that or anything, if it matters to have the same ISBN, so I just use the free ones.
I know. I actually asked somebody about that the other day. I know his name is Jason Durow. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Jason Durow. He gives a lot of advice on self-publishing. And one of the things he says regularly is, "Oh, don't use Ingram Spark's free ISBNs." And I've seen other people say it, and I'm like, why not? And it's like, oh, because you're getting confused with, if you have to publish it through somebody else, you can't use their ISBNs. I'm like, well, if you're publishing it with Ingram Spark, isn't that, getting it out to pretty much every retailer? So, and the same with, Amazon and Barnes and Noble. They're pretty big. And so, does it really matter? Do people care about, having different ISBNs anymore?
I have no idea.
Oh, sorry. I had a cold last week. Just a drink. But yeah, what do you think the benefits would be for you ongoing to have, your book with Ingram Spark?
Just mainly for that purpose of getting it into actual bookstores. I'm not putting Forbidden Waves on Ingram. Well, I say that. Forbidden Waves is on Ingram Spark because I was originally going to be buying my print copies from them. But then I had an issue with the cover, so I did it through Barnes & Noble. But there's no way to undo, once you put it on Ingram Spark, there's no way to undo it unless you, write to them and have them take it off. So I couldn't, undo it. So I had to, see through putting Forbidden Waves on Ingram Spark. So it is on there, but I don't anticipate, using it for anything, just because it is new adult, so it's a little bit different. I don't know how it works, doing that in bookstores. I know people feel differently about that versus young adult is a lot easier. There's a lot less nuances. But yeah, so pretty much just to get into bookstores is the only reason that I will continue to use it.
Yeah, I think that would be like, you know, I think that was most authors' dreams, to get their books into bookstores.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you say Forbidden Waves is going to be on Kindle Unlimited?
Yeah. I don't know if I put it on there or not. I was still debating it because of how like little money that you make with Kindle Unlimited. So it's like, I don't know if I actually made the decision to do it. I think it's after publishing it's an option you can do. I don't know if it was something that I could choose yet. I don't even remember. I'll have to look into that. I probably will end up putting it on Kindle Unlimited just because I really believe in like accessibility, and like I know a lot of people like can't afford to buy all these different books, and Kindle Unlimited makes it possible for people to read so much more. So like for that reason is why I most likely will decide to do it, but just for that reason. Otherwise, like Amazon just does not pay people enough for that.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, like, I mean, like you said, you know, it gives like low earners more opportunity to read like multiple books a month for a set price. And so yeah, it's a bit of a like it depends on what you want for yourself and what kind of readership you want to reach. But yeah, you also have signed copies on your Etsy.
Yes,
so how do you get the signed copies? How do you do your signed copies?
So I order them like through Amazon or Ingram Spark too, because I like to see how they're going to come out before people actually buy them. So I order them through Amazon, and then I just sign them, and then I post them on Etsy. So the hard part though was getting the old covers of Awakened before it went live. So Awakened was technically for sale for like 2 weeks, like without anyone noticing on Amazon, because I was waiting for the books to ship and they never shipped. So it was release day, and so I had to change it to the new cover, and I was like, what if it ships with the new cover? And then I'm like stuck with all these copies of the new cover. But it came in today and it is the old cover. So now I have copies of the old cover for people who want a matching set. But yeah, so I have signed copies of those on my Etsy. I have signed copies of all of my books on my Etsy, of different various covers and everything. But yeah, so that's just how I do it.
Yeah, I saw your video about your Awakened arriving earlier, so I was like, oh yay, she got the old covers before the new covers come in, because I just have to say, these covers are absolutely gorgeous. Like, there was nothing wrong with the previous ones, but like you said, it was because of Canva's, you made it in Canva, so it was limited. Yeah. You would have thought that if you're paying for it, like, I noticed you said you paid for it, but yeah, I was with my first book, Out of Ashes, which came out back in February. I did the cover myself. A friend finished it off for me, but like the main cover. This time I used like free to use images, and it actually says on the website you can use them for anything you want. You can manipulate them, and there's no royalties, no nothing, and you can even use them for commercial use and book covers. I was like, yes, I will take those. And I just threw them in Photoshop, mixed them all together, and made a book cover cake. So, yeah. But I mean, so I know you made a video, but for the sake of the viewers at home, where did you get this cover from?
So I used getcovers.com for that, which is just like a really affordable option for authors who can't afford to pay like actual cover designers, which like I would love to be able to use like a actual cover designer someday. But yeah, so it was only $35, I think, for each cover. So it was super affordable, and they're pretty easy to work with. I did try to do like an actual person, like people cover for Forbidden Waves, and that went pretty horribly wrong. But they saved it with the new cover, and the new cover is amazing. But yeah, so they did a pretty good job for the price that you're paying. Like, it definitely was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, like $35. I mean, I know euros, and because I'm in euros, they're practically the same. And even though like we earn less here, even $35 to me for a book cover seems really reasonable. When I know like professional graphic designers charge hundreds, and I'm sure they're worth it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you need to do everything on a budget. Okay, so like in relation to, you know, keeping costs down through the book process, was there anything that you did yourself? Like formatting and editing?
Yep. Yeah, I did all the formatting myself for all of my books. That comes to me pretty easily. Like, I'm pretty good at figuring things out on the computer, just from like growing up being on computers mostly. So formatting, like no issues there. I did do the editing myself for the Broken Angel series and the Unbound series, just because like I couldn't afford to hire an editor, but I did hire an editor for Forbidden Waves, and she's actually a friend of mine that I met through my writing group, so that was really awesome. And that like hiring, like when you can hire an editor, like definitely do it, because like it not only did it make the book itself better, but it just like overall made my writing better, because it helped me see some things that I do like over and over, and like realize like, oh, I need to not do that. Like, but yeah, it's just definitely an amazing experience to actually have an editor for once. But yeah, that was one of the things that I had to do myself for the first few. And then of course making the covers with Canva originally. But yeah, pretty much everything.
You know, the joys of being like self-published author.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the same. If I could afford it, I would love to get an editor, but I'm just about to release my second book, so it's not on the table for me anytime soon. But yeah, like you said, it's something that if I could afford it, I would definitely do it, because it just elevates your writing to like that, you know, more professional level. But yeah. So what is like the inspiration? Do you have any kind of inspiration for your books? Anything that stuck out to you, like, oh, that's a great idea for a book, or oh, that's a great scene that I can create a book around?
Yeah. So both the Unbound series and Forsaken Waves stemmed from a dream. They like the Unbound series, honestly, the dream really was just in regards to that the Shreve people that I created. Like that's what came from the dream. Like pretty much nothing else came out of that. But yeah, so I wanted to, other than the fact that like humans and the Shreve are like kind of at war, so there was that in the dream too, was like these two people were at odds, but then like a man and a woman, you know, find a way to come together despite all the odds, like every story, you know, or two loves come together. But yeah, so that came from the dream. And then Forbidden Waves too, like there was actually just like a scene that I haven't written yet. It'll be in the second book because it's going to be a duology. But there was a scene, like I had a very vivid dream about mermaids and pirates, and one of the characters in the book is a lion shifter, because there's shifters in the story. And in my dream, there was a man who was a lion shifter, and so it was the mermaid and the lion shifter, like, and it was just like very vivid dream about this fight with. It wasn't specifically a Siren Queen, but it was like there was a fight going on, but they were together. So that's where that all came from. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly dreams.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say I love duologies because, like, I love series, but sometimes I get kind of whiplash with cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger.
Yeah. I agree.
Whereas a duology is really good because you just have to live with one fun cliffhanger, and then you know the next book. You get the story all wrapped up, or a standalone. So yeah. So I mean, how often do you read books?
Well, it's not very often right now. I started out the year pretty well, because I do like the Goodreads goal and everything, and I try to keep up with it. But mostly this year I've been focusing on my writing, and I kind of went into this year with that intention of focusing on my writing. So I made my Goodreads goal pretty low. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of time to read, and if I am reading, like, it has to be something good that's gonna keep my attention. Like, I read Fourth Wing, and that I was able to get through, like, really quickly. Otherwise, it'll take me, like, a month or two to get through a book at this point right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I would be without, like, audiobooks or having, like, read aloud options sometimes. I get Alexa to read my Kindle books when I'm driving.
Yeah.
And if they're advanced copies, I get Google Books to read it aloud, but the voice is a bit... Like, Alexa's okay. Alexa can pull off, a somewhat okay narration, like, that you're just like, okay, well, I just want to make the most of my driving time. But yeah, if everybody could could afford to turn their book into an audiobook, that would be amazing.
I know, that's the dream too, is like someday to be able to have my books become audiobooks. Like, because some of my family, like, all they do is they listen to audiobooks, they don't actually read. So I'm like, oh, I want you to be able to read my books someday. So, yeah. No plans.
Tell them to get the Alexa app on their phone, and it reads all Kindle books aloud. I must admit, it saves so much time, and it allows busy people to, like, I love sitting down with a book, but I don't always have the time or the brain power, and so if I can use my drive to work to account for that, traveling time, then I'm just like, yeah, let's just use this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm just about 2/3 of the way through an audiobook at the moment, and then I was thinking, like, oh, what am I going to read next? What am I going to read next? And I'm like, Awakened, obviously. Because, I've been looking forward to it for, since I finished the previous book.
Yeah.
I think they were both released already when I got into them. Or maybe, I can't remember exactly when I read them, but it was only a few months ago that I read the second book. So I was like, yeah, I need the third book, and then I was like, yes, okay, the moment I'm done with this current audiobook, it's straight to Awakened. But yeah, so what do you think the kind of difference would be in your audience going from, like, young adult to new adult in relation to, your readership? Or do you think that maybe, like, your young adult readers would have reached new adult by this time anyway?
I feel like most of my readership is kind of carrying over, because, like, Unbound really hasn't reached that large of an audience yet to, like, I don't know that I have many younger readers. Most of my audience is here on TikTok, like my friends, and then, like, my family. I really hope that none of my family reads Forbidden Waves. I haven't told any of them about it, except for my mom, and I told my mom, I was like, I'll let you know which chapters to skip. But yeah, I think that most of my readership, I think will carry over for this one.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose like people like me that just read, as long as it's got adult in it, in the title, I don't mind, you know, young adults, because most of, like, especially in fantasy settings, they always seem quite mature anyway. So, okay, they have their moments, but then again, I've read some books with, you know, fully grown adults, like in their late 20s, 30s, and they do some really immature things, and I'm like, wait, how old are you? So I'm just like, it doesn't really matter. But so is Forbidden Waves going to be spicy?
It is. It's not like, this is my first attempt at writing spice, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing anything like cringy or like weird. So like the spice will only go on, I think it's like 2 pages at most. So it's not like lengthy spice, but there is spice in there. Book 2, there will probably not be as much spice, and you will understand why when you finish book 1, but yeah. So, I don't know. But it was, like, I don't know if I'll continue to write spice, like, in future books. Like, it wasn't like I didn't like writing it, but it was fun, but it also, like, reading back made me uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't know if I want to write this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as reading, like, Unbound and Disgrace, like, I thought it was really nicely done. You know, like, with the romance and the tension and everything, there just wasn't, like, you know, like, the on-page spice scenes, like, I think, like, I love spicy books, but at the same time, a book doesn't have to have spice for me to love it. So again, it's one of these things that, you know, is all like, I would always say it's up to the author what they want to write, what they feel like their strong suits are. Some people like just don't want to write it at all, or some people are just like, oh, what if people cringe at it? I'm like, you should read some of the stuff I've read, just the words. Like, no. Every other word is cringe, cringe, cringe. I'm like, no, can't do that anymore. Or just skip those scenes. It's fine. But yeah, I think jumping from like one sort of age category to the next age category isn't really a big deal, I don't think. Okay, so I presume there's going to be some romance in, well, yeah, you already said there's going to be some romance in Forbidden Waves. So are all your books, like, do they all have romance? Because I haven't read is it the Fallen Angel series?
Yeah, Broken Angel.
Yeah, I haven't, Broken Angel, sorry, yes.
That's fine.
I haven't read that series. I keep meaning to, and it's just, you know, I've got a whole list of books I keep meaning to read. But yeah, so does that have romance in it as well?
Yes, it does. Yeah, romance is like a must for me. Even like if I'm reading too, like there has to be romance. That's my favorite thing to read.
And what's the premise of Broken Angel?
So Broken Angel is also YA. It takes place in the real world, so it's like contemporary fantasy. But it's angels and demons, and they are at war. So like everyone else, like basic humans, kind of have all gone into hiding, while the angels and demons are at war. And the main character, Andy, has like recently learned that she is part angel. So the first book is like her and her dad trying to get to this angel camp where she can learn like what it means to be an angel and like what powers that she possesses, and then there is some romance, and then also like another thing that I really like to write is really strong friendships. So like she meets her best friend along the way, and he actually becomes like a main character towards the end, and then in the following books as well. So yeah.
Okay. And what about multiple perspectives? Does it have like different, you know, POVs in there, or is it just one?
Yes. So the first book only has Andy and then her friend Beau, his point of view. So there's just those two, and then I don't remember. It's been so long since I don't remember. I think there's just the two. Oh no, there's 3 POVs in the second book. It's Andy, Bo, and then Septimus, who is an angel. And then in the fourth one, it's kind of like half of the book is Andy and Bo, and then the other half is her mom's story, because that plays a role into like Andy's life. So it's her mom has a point of view in the third book as well.
And what about Forbidden Waves? How many, is that multiple POVs?
Yeah, that one is 4. Just right from the start. Because like all my other books, it like starts out with 1 POV and then it kind of splits off. But this one I did just 4 like main characters right from the start. So there's the 4 different POVs.
And how do you find like writing different POVs? Do you find that you end up wanting to make like a secondary character more dominant? Because I found that in another one of the first series that I wrote, like it's not even published, not nearly ready to be published.
Yeah.
It's been long. But I had book 1 with a protagonist and I had like 4 POVs, and the secondary character ended up like taking over. I had to dial her back in book 1 and then give her the protagonist role in book 2 because she was just like such a like I could delve into a whole other character and a whole other bunch of issues with her. So have you found that that's happened to you?
The only one that it really happened to me in was Unbound. And then like, so with book 3, I felt like I was kind of straying too much from Mila's story because like this is still like she is still the main character of this series. And I started like diving into too many other characters. So I did have to cut out like a whole side story for Davina and like all this stuff because I was like had to reel it back in. I was like, no, this is still Mila's story. Like we can talk about other people if we want to, like in novellas or something, but right now we need to finish Mila's story. So yeah, definitely found that with this one. But then like Forbidden Waves, like the 4 main characters, like they each have their own, like they are the main characters. There's no like one that's above the others. So that one's a little bit easier to, like, if I wanted to go off a little with one of them, I could. But yeah.
Okay, cool. And so when is Forbidden Waves coming out? When is it released?
November 17th.
Soon.
I know. It's coming up fast. I mean, I feel like I've been waiting for this. Like, this is the furthest that I've pushed out a release date, like, from finishing the actual book. So it, like, I feel very anxious to get there. I just want it to be out, but I'm trying to do, like, a lot more marketing and, like, stuff for this one so that it's a better release.
Yeah, and it's with ARC readers at the moment, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any feedback yet?
I haven't heard anything yet, which is a little bit scary, but also, like, only half of the people that I had sent it to had opened it so far, because they have until, I think, the release date to open it. Actually, or until the end of October, I think, was the latest it would give me, but yeah.
Okay, and how have you found, you know, like, dealing with releasing ARC readers? What platform do you use to release to ARC readers, or do you just send it through an email?
So originally for Unbound and Disgraced was the first time. Actually, I think Disgraced was the first time that I did ARC readers, because I didn't know about ARC readers before. So I just sent them out through email for that one. But for Awakened and for Forbidden Waves, I used BookFunnel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I did like the $10 a month option, and then I'm just gonna cancel it once the ARCs are kind of done. Because it was much cheaper than using NetGalley. NetGalley was like kind of crazy what you have to pay for that one.
Oh, I got BookFunnel. I got the basic package for $20 a year.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I used it for my previous book that came out in February, and I'm using it for my book that's like my book's coming out in November too. So I used it for both that one and this one, and I'm like, getting the basic version for $20 a year is actually really good.
Yeah.
And I used like MailChimp to send out the announcements. So, and like I can see on both apps who's opened the emails, how many downloads. It's kind of scary because I think if readers found out, they'd probably be like, oh my god, they know we're downloading it. And it's like, no, we can only see numbers, we can't see individual people.
Yeah.
I would just love to see somebody's face when they learn that we can see how many people have downloaded. Okay, so what other marketing strategies are you using for Forbidden Waves apart from TikTok?
So I'm sending out PR boxes for this one. So I sent out a few of those this morning. So that's the first time I've ever done that. So that's kind of fun, but it's also kind of scary because I had to like reach out to some people and like ask them. But thankfully almost everyone I reached out to responded. There are a few people who just didn't respond, which was totally fine because I was like, I don't want to put any pressure on anyone, like if you don't want to read this. But everyone was really nice and like, oh yeah, like totally. But yeah, I did have plans to work with like a marketing team for Forbidden Waves, but unfortunately I honestly have no idea what happened, but that fell through, I guess, and never happened. So I was like, well, I guess I'll do it all on my own. And I've been pushing for it, but yeah, and then I'm just doing lives and I'm going to be on 2 podcasts in November. So
great. I was thinking, you know, like when I reached out to you, I was like, no, I'm sure she's too busy to chat to little old me, and I'm like, yay! So yeah, because you know, I'm starting my own, just chat with all, like I literally call it Writing Ranting because we just rant about writing. And like, you know, I've had you this week. I had another writer who's like planning on going through the traditional route, but like you, she loves cosplay as well. So you know, we spend most of the time, like once we talked about writing, we spent most of the time talking about cosplay. So yeah, because you've cosplayed your own characters a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I cosplayed Mila. I have plans to cosplay Leah from Forbidden Waves, because I specifically made her hair color a color of a wig that I have.
Convenient.
For that reason.
Yeah, what color is it?
It's bright green. Yeah.
Perfect mermaid color.
Yeah.
Oh, very important question. Do you plan to get the Little Mermaid crowns?
I don't know.
It just like no, I was just thinking with it being a mermaid story, and I know a few other people have recently released mermaid stories, so I decided to go and order Little Mermaid, the official Little Mermaid crown through by Sweet V. So yeah. You will. I will get your book and I will be sharing it with the crown, and you'll see it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
You'll probably be thinking, "Oh my god, what's she doing?" But yeah, I love the crowns. Yeah. So have you read any other mermaid-related books?
The only one I read was, what was it? What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Yes, To Kill a Kingdom. Yes, that's the one. I was like,
yeah. It's just because it's just an amazing book.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. I also recommend Mazakine. What was it? Hands of Fate and Stormborn.
Yes.
I've read both of them. Mindy actually sent me the arc for book 2, so I was really excited to get that. That has a lot of fae in it, and it's, you know, again, it's kind of a battle between a higher power and, you know, some like distant magic going on and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have it on my Kindle. I just haven't read it yet. But it's on there.
Oh, somebody's asking, do you have a street team?
I don't have a street team. It's probably something that I should do, but like I've never really known like how to go about doing that because I'm like just an awkward person, and I'm like, I don't want to have to ask someone to be stuck with me for longer than just one book, like. But yeah. Someday.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about releasing a series is that, like, especially ARC readers, you need them to have read book 1. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, just in case you haven't read this book, go read the other one, but I'm not giving you that for free.
I know. That's
like,
what happened.
I didn't
with
realize it was a series.
That's what happened with Unbound and Disgraced, because I didn't do arcs for Unbound because I didn't know that was a thing, and then for Disgraced I did. I said anyone can sign up for it and I will send you book 1 if you arc read Disgraced. But then with Awakened I was like, I can't, like, I was like, if you've read the first 2 books or if you want to buy them and read them, great, otherwise like I can't deal with sending out like all these different things. So
yeah, I think it's one of those things where the joys of being on Kindle Unlimited, you can say, like, oh, I'm having both books for free on Kindle, go get them on these dates.
Yep.
And then that way, they do get it for free. But
Yeah.
at least, you know, and it looks good on your Kindle, you know, your Kindle report. So, yeah. Oh, somebody else asked, are there any other authors that you draw inspiration from?
Yes. Cassandra Clare is like who I used to go to, like if I was having trouble with descriptions. I really like her, like the way that she describes everything. And then more recently, since reading Zodiac Academy, Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti, like I love their writing and that they don't really follow like all the conventional rules. And I love that because like I hate rules. So like to not like feel that pressure of like, you need to follow this exact formula for like every single book. It's like, no, you don't need to become successful. Like, look at this. But yeah, so they are kind of who I draw a lot of inspiration from. And then also like when I had to write the spicy scenes for Forbidden Waves, I kind of looked at some of their books and was like, what words do they use? Like, and same with Sarah J. Maas too. I was like, because she started out as young adult technically. But I would look at like, what words do they use and like, what should I be writing like so that it's not cringy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the Twisted Sisters definitely, like, they're the perfect balance of, like, really great smutty spice, but without the ick words.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I, like I said, I've read some spicy scenes with, like, ick words, and it was just like, I just skip these pages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Cassandra Clare, she's one of my like biggest like writing inspirations. Like exactly like you said, the descriptions. It's like you can see everything in your head clearly, and it just brings like whole entire like invented buildings to life. And it was just, you know, I think one of my favorites was the Lady Midnight. You never know how to pronounce it. The Dark Artifices series trilogy. That, I think that was my absolute favorite. And yeah, just I remember her describing like looking out at the ocean from the I can't remember what they call them, the main houses that they live in, looking out at the ocean, and like I could see it, and I'm just like, that's the kind of descriptions I want my readers to be able to see everything that I'm describing. But yeah. And like you said with the Twisted Sisters, they just have a way with, you know, having fun with writing.
Yeah.
And I think they stand out because they don't, like you said, they don't have rules. They don't care about the fact that, you know, oh, you should have this formula in your book, or this structure, and you shouldn't say this word, and you shouldn't write, you know, in this way. And they're just like, no, we just write how we want, and people love them.
Yeah.
And so it just proves the point that, you know, if you bring something unique to the table, rules do not mean anything. So yeah. But yeah, sorry, I just keep getting distracted about this cover, because firstly I love shiny things, and also I was just thinking about like that necklace as well and what it means to her. So I mean, do you like the little things in your books? Do they come from anything personal, or is it just something that you think, oh, this could mean something, or oh, that could, you know, that would really work to be this kind of trinket? Like, is there some like your personal things that you put in your book, like little trinkets and stuff?
Yeah, I wanted there to be something that could like kind of carry throughout, because like so much changes from like book 1 to book 2 to book 3. So I just wanted there to be something that could kind of like carry throughout, that would be like kind of a callback to like, oh yeah, these things happened, or these things are important, like the necklace and then the ring, and yeah.
Cool. So, what about in Forbidden Waves? Is there any sort of special, like, object that means something to your character?
Yes. One of the male main characters has like a lucky coin that he carries around with him. So he has that, and then I also more focus, like I think that's really the only object that I talk about, but then for Viv, like it's her scars that she has, and then for like Jamie and Finn have like certain tattoos that they like mean different things, and yeah.
Sorry, I was just laughing at Finn in a story about mermaids because I'm double laughing. That. Two, it's funny, genuinely funny, and like one or two, I have a Finn in my mermaid story too.
I didn't even think about that. Real name's Finn.
No, his real name's Seraphin, because it's like a Spanish influenced. Because I'm half Spanish, and I wanted to have a book that had a lot of influence with the area that I live in, because I live on the coast. I'm just next to a fishing village, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I wanted to have that in a book. So what do? I write a spin-off, like a mini spin-off book from it's going to be a long series, but there's one character that she comes from a different world, so we don't really see where she came from. We don't get much about her in the series, so I wanted to write a spin-off just for her. Essentially, it is a Little Mermaid. It is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, but it's got like a strong Spanish influence. And I was thinking, oh, what's some really cool names? And somebody I knew not long before I started writing this, his name was Seraphin, and I just thought, Finn. So yeah, that's why I was like, it is double funny, because I did the same.
Oh my god. I honestly Finn. Didn't cross my mind that like the play on words until you pointed it out. That's kind of funny. It works beautifully.
Well, yeah, no, I just like I said, it for me it happened, you know, like I thought of the name first, and then I was like, Oh, and I could nickname him Finn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. Like, it's funny. So, yeah, so are there any things that are like, personal jokes in a book that other people would maybe think are mildly amusing, but you, like, because you know the origins, and now you're going to think of it every time you read them to write the name Finn? But is there anything like that in this book or any other books that are just, like inside jokes?
Not really. There's like one line in Forbidden Waves that's like a callback to Pirates of the Caribbean. I honestly can't even remember what it is. But every time you'll read it, and if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, you'll know, oh, it's the I'll get you a new ship, a better ship. And it's Leah says the same thing. I'll get you a new ship, a better one. And it's just like a callback to Pirates of the Caribbean. Because when I was writing it and I wrote like, I'll get you a new ship, I was like, I have to put the full like line from Pirates of the Caribbean. Because it's always on repeat in my brain. But yeah, that's the one thing. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else that's like...
Yeah, I mean, I love like when you were talking about it's pirates and mermaids, because obviously, like people think it's a mermaid story. It's like obviously Little Mermaid. It's like, well, wait a second, there are more stories about mermaids than just Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea that it has like pirates in it, and it kind of like sounds something like you said, more like something like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Or maybe even like some kind of like new adult Peter Pan almost, because people forget that Peter Pan has mermaids in it too. So yeah, I mean, what do you call them, mermaids or sirens? Because you were talking about the Siren Queen.
Yeah, so there are mermaids and there are sirens. So they're two different like things, because in the book there are shifters. So mermaids are shifters. They can change between human and mermaid. And since like every shifter kind of has an animal counterpart, like sirens would be considered like mermaids' counterpart. But the sirens like can only be in the water. They are only that form.
Cool. Because again, like I know, like people talk about sirens. And like their origins not being what like we all like people think of like the Greek mythologies, the sirens on the rocks and stuff, and I'm not sure like how it changed over time, because originally some sirens were like more bird-like. And I'm not sure at what point they changed and they became more of like a mermaid. But I know here in Spain, we actually call mermaids like sirenas, which is like a siren. Like the Little Mermaid, we call her like, sirenita. But yeah, I can't pronounce. Like, I've lived here for 14 years of half Spanish, and I still, like, my pronunciation. I have students that laugh at me for my pronunciation. But yeah, so I'm just like wondering, is that how they got turned into, like people started calling them sirens? But yeah, so so apart from we've got sirens and mermaids and shifters. Are there any other mythical creatures in Forbidden Waves?
Yeah, so there's like dragon shifters as well. So they would be that. I don't know. I think that's all for mythical creatures, though. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
So what is your favorite, like, fantastical creature, or your favorite, like, shifter? Because for me, like, it is dragon shifters. Well, any kind of shifters in general, but especially dragon shifters.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, definitely dragon shifters. And then for like the non-mythical ones would be lion shifters. And that totally comes from like the I don't know if you read the Dark Fae series as well.
Yes, I know. I was thinking of
that
Leon.
That totally comes from Leon, like lion shifter of the year.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I was thinking like, I mean, when Leon met Seth, both when they in Dark Fae, when Seth was young, but again when Seth was older, in Zodiac Academy, and I was just, oh my god, these two, like
Perfect
lion shifters
combination.
and wolf shifters, but you know, like just their characters just
Yeah.
mesh together so well. It's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
I think they're two of my favorite. Like, especially when like seeing them together was definitely my favorite. Funnily enough, I hadn't read Dark Fae when I read them together in Zodiac Academy, and I don't like Seth and Leon. Yeah. I don't want to risk spoiling it for anybody, but when Xander gets his tattoos, I could not believe who gave him the tattoos when I read Dark Fae, and I got to the end and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No! I had to go back to the book to find the name, and I was like, what?
I had to do a
What?
reread. Yeah.
It was, oh my god, that was like one of the best moments ever when that clicked. But yeah, have you read the Darkmoor series yet?
I have not. It is on my list.
I think I'm trying to wait until all the Zodiac Academy is done, because I know they say there are no spoilers, but I know there were things that made more sense in Dark Fae after, in Zodiac Academy when the groups meet again, that made more sense after I read Dark Fae. So I'm just like, I want to read all of Zodiac Academy first. What about A Game of Malice and Greed?
I haven't read that one yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll like it, but I'm just like, I don't know if that one's up my alley. Like,
I mean, it's definitely got the same, like, just fun, random stuff going on, and, like, the same potential with the characters and everything. I mean, like, it's a retelling of Aladdin, and the genie in it, she is hilarious. I think she's one of my favorite characters. Just from that alone, I would recommend reading it. I've actually done a cosplay for her, and I don't think anybody even knows who she is. And I'm like, I don't care, I love her.
yeah, I've done a few of those.
So, what do you think is your most popular cosplay?
The one that does gets the most views is probably Kaz Brecker. Yeah, that one like gets the most views when I post those. So, and I also enjoy that one a lot, and it's an easier one to do. But I was surprised. I did like, I don't know if you read Scarred by Emily McIntyre.
Yeah.
But I did Tristan Fasa from that book, and I was surprised that those videos did pretty well, because those are more of like a niche, I think. I don't know. They're not as popular. Not as many people know them. But yeah, that one did pretty well. But that was honestly one of my favorite cosplays that I had ever done.
And you did Lou LeBlanc as well.
Yes, I very briefly did her. I did her the one time, but yeah, that was a lot of fun too. I love doing new ones, but it's like hard to come up with the new cosplays and not spend too much money on the stuff.
And also, like, when certain books come out, there seems to be this, like, it's just saturated with this new character. Like, we've got a lot of Violet from Fourth Wing at the moment, and it's great, it's really fun, but I'm just like, if I tried to do Violet from Fourth Wing, it would just get lost. And
Yeah,
so I try and do like just my old favorites, like I've done Lou LeBlanc too, and I got quite a few likes on that one, and I was like, I did 4 or 5 videos, but yeah. I used to do Nesta, but I've since stopped doing just SJMs everywhere, and so I just think let's just do something different. Yeah, I
I always
cosplay
say
a lot
that,
of my
I always go back to it. I can't get away. But it's
Yeah.
because I have all the stuff for it, and I'm like, I don't want it to go to waste. So like my Femme Race and my Femme Asriel, and then I just like, I have all that stuff, so I keep going back to it. And then Evil Elaine every once in a while I do, just because I have good sounds for her.
Yeah, I remember I duetted your Asriel as Nesta with the my He Saved the World? No, My Sister Saved the World. Yeah, because like that's kind of like how it comes across. But yeah. It's funny because I think of like the Black Widow sisters being very much like some of my characters from the Viper's Library, because my main character Zelenka, she comes from like a fictional, like a fantasy Slavic background, but you know, she's very much like, she does remind me a lot of like kind of Black Widow in the like her character, like because she's just like kind of very serious all the time. Like not really, but then she'll just pull a random stunt and be like, what did I do? And it's like, you just did something completely out of character. And I'm like, yeah, so yeah, I think those two, the sisters, are very much inspiration for Zelenka from like a personality perspective, and I just love their accents.
Yeah.
The way, you know, so I get all the sound bites from it and use it. So do you have like a favorite sound bite? Because obviously you do a lot, you know, like me, you know, we love TikTok trends and sound bites from like, do you have a favorite?
I definitely like the good versus evil one. Like, how do you define good and evil? But every time I use it, it doesn't do well. So, and it takes, like, those ones take a lot of time to do the back and forth. I've used it, it's never really done that well. But it is one of my favorites, anyway.
Yeah, no, I know. I think I get, so, I mean, how many TikToks do you make a week? Because obviously, you know, this platform for our authors, like self-published authors, indie authors, like pushing yourself on social media is essentially marketing, or like getting attention for future marketing. So like, do you have like plans in relation to what you're going to post, or is it just whatever's trending, whatever you like, whatever feels right on any given day?
I kind of like don't have a plan. I used to plan, and like none of the videos did well, so I just like, right now I'm kind of in a lull where I'm like, okay, what can I try now to try and get new readers, to try and get the word out there. Yeah, it's really hard. I try to post at least once a day though, even if it's just like me showing my face and saying like, this is happening right now or something, just to stay relevant, I guess. But I honestly have no idea how the TikTok algorithm works, or how, like, because I don't know, like I am stuck in that 200 view range just like everyone else, and no matter what I do, like, you just can't break free. So
yeah, I posted like, I got something like, was it 1,000 likes on a video I posted. It's one of those memes, like a CapCut template meme, and it was, what was it talking, like, it was the I can't even sing, don't ask me to sing, but it was like oh my god, it was the little the stick person cartoons, and one was like, oh, you're a fan of this, you must like this. Oh yeah, I really like that. And it's like, but, and it was all this it was this thing about like, oh, everybody thinks if you're a Zodiac Academy fan you must like Darius and Darius, and I'm like, no, I'm a Lance girl. But I mean, I do love Darius too, like, you know, but yeah, like, I'm a Lance girl. So yeah, and I got so many views and so many likes, and I was like, it was just a CapCut template.
yeah.
you know.
I know. It's frustrating when the things you don't try get the most views, and then when you like put a lot of time and effort into something, it just flops. Just like,
Yeah, I know. I mean, I try, you know, I just think I just have fun doing it though. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's disappointing when you put a lot of effort into something and you get 250 views and then that's it. Maybe on the following days it reaches almost 300. Yeah. But basically that's it. But I'm just like, well, I am doing this for fun. So, you know, it's like I get something out of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with my free time before TikTok.
I know. That's kind of funny to think about.
It's scary to think about.
Yeah.
But, somebody asked when Unbound's third book is coming. It's out now on, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle Unlimited. Sorry, just to make sure we answer the question.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've run out of questions. But, you know, I think, you know, we've had a good chat, and I had a list of questions, that's why I was just looking this way. Making sure we covered all the essentials. But yeah, I mean, like, thank you so much, and thank you for doing the live. I thought I was able to do it this time, but for some reason, I need to just, like, point my phone at something random on a wall and set a live for, like, 2 hours and hope that counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah. But, I mean, anyway, thank you so much for chatting to me. It's been really nice talking to you in person, even though it's through the internet, but yeah. So thank you so much, and thank you for letting me join your life, which is we got it done in the end.
Yeah, although I did realize